Hi, and welcome to this latest video from PyZac1. Today we're going to be looking at Morpeko v Union with Arceus. Now this list is loosely based on a list from the team at Pokerogue that run a podcast, Nick and Austin. I think Nick came up with this list, but his was list with Mewtwo v Union, and I found that I just struggled a little bit against Palkia. So the benefit of this V Union over the Pikachu V Union is that it actually has one-shot potential with this attack, Burst Wheel. So basically for 3 energy and a Choice Belt, or for 4 energy, it just one-hit KOs everything in the game. But also, this attack one-hit KOs Palkia. So you can quite easily take out 2 Palkias with 1 Morpeko. In the meantime, you want to be setting up with Arceus. So I've found often you can get 3 Arceus or Arcei out as long as you can find one of your Cheren's Care. So you've got 2 Cheren's Care, you've also got 2 Pal Pads, so if you have to research the Cheren's Care away early on, you can get it back in your deck. There is a Peonia, you don't often need to use it because quite often you're just taking prizes, but it is there if you need it. Canceling Cologne is great if they just stick one of the Miltanks in the active and think it's okay to just leave it there. You can just go and blast that away. Energy Recycler is really useful because quite often you're taking out a lot of your energy early on. You've got 8 basic energy. So what will happen is you'll attach 1 probably to your Arceus with a double turbo. You'll attach 4 to your benched Arceus, which leaves 4 in your deck. You might draw 1, you might prize 1, making it pretty difficult to charge up your Morpeko, although you can charge it up with just 1 lightning energy. So quite often at some point you want to just chuck all the energy back into your deck and charge up a Morpeko for a late game one-hit KO. Have put some schoolgirl supporters in the deck because almost always you're going to have an even number of prize cards, and quite often you might have a Cheren's Care in your hand or Boss's Orders in your hand and you want to just keep all of that. So just playing a schoolgirl quite often is the better option out of all the other stuff. One off Professor Burnet, which is great if you've just got 1 or 2 of the reunion pieces left in your deck. Obviously Arceus can use the ability to go and grab those to help you out getting rid of discarding those reunion pieces. I mean, you can look at the rest of the deck, but it's probably easier just to grab the deck list out of the description, perhaps watch this game first to give you an idea of how it works. Yeah, and enjoy. Let me know your feedback. Cheers. So in this game, we're up against Mew VMAX. Oh, we win the coin toss. Nice. And we don't have a basic, so we take a mulligan. It's not uncommon to mulligan with this deck. I'm not sure what the odds are with 4 basics. I imagine around about 50% of the time you're going to mulligan. Can't quite see how many mulligans we took there, but we've got an Arceus in the active, which is the only possible way to start this game. Occasionally you might get 2 Arceus in your hand, which is quite fortunate. But yeah, on this instance we've got 1. Looking at the hand, we've got we're going first, but we have no energy attachment, which is pretty bad. But we can start to get the pieces of Morpeko v Union into the discard pile. So yeah, and we've got 2 Arceus Vs in the first turn, which is absolutely fantastic. Obviously, it is now Mew VMAX's turn, so this could well go on for about 10 minutes. So feel free to go and make a cup of tea, come back in 5 minutes, and it might be back to our turn. Hopefully they won't have donked us and we can get to play the game. Heads on Pokégear. Let's see what they get off the Chromatic. Oh, tails. Nice. So it looks like we should get to play the game on this instance. Looking forward to our turn. We can get the Collapsed Stadium down, which is great. We're probably going to have to research away this boss, but we do have Pal Pad to get it back in our deck later. Just to go through kind of how this some of the plays in this deck. Early game, you want to be just getting the Arceus out, trying to get as many V-Union pieces in your discard pile while powering up your Arceus. And at some point, ideally, you want to play a Cheren's Care. So it's not too bad to have 3 Arceus in play, as long as they don't knock out your basic to get the easy 2 prizes. And then you can keep on just attacking basically, and then later on in the game you want to get your Morpeko V Union out. There is the one-off Canceling Cologne, which I've quite often used just to take out the solitary mill tank on the opponent's side of the board to win the game, which is great when you can do that. I've gone for a split of 1 Switch, 1 Escape Rope, because sometimes early game they've only got one thing on the bench that they're trying to protect, and you just want to switch in and hit it, or you might find that the only thing that's going to survive attack that turn, you've only got 1 prize left, is the active, and you can just go and research, play the Escape Rope, and win the game that way. So back to our turn. Again, you want to start getting your pieces in your discard pile, your Morpeko pieces. So let's have a look what's in the deck. Again, we probably want to go and get an Arceus with this Ultra Ball. So let's see what we're going to do here. Yeah, I mean it's got to be an Arceus surely. Arceus and then research and hope to find the double turbo of the research so that we can save the Arceus VSTAR Pal would be great. Collapsed Stadium is great against Mew VMAX. It seems to make so much difference when they're drawing like up to 5 rather than up to 6. It kind of, with 3 Genesis, you're stopping them by probably 3 cards with that. So yeah, we're going to have to get the double turbo. And then probably a piece of the V Union, looking at what's on the board here. Very nice. Yeah, the path to the peak is great, isn't it? Against Mew. Everyone loves to chuck down path to the peak against Mew. So yeah, it's probably just going to be a case of accelerating some energy onto the bench one here. Now it does only leave 3 lightning energy in the discard pile, in the deck. So this is kind of the problem you'll find with this deck. I mean, it is kind of an optimal amount of energy to have at 8, but you can't obviously get 3 on each of them, can you? There's only 9. So, and also you probably can't get 1 on the active, 3 on your benched Arceus, and then 3 on your Morpeko, because quite often you'll prize an energy or 2, or you'll have to discard an energy. It's just a bit tricky. So yeah, the Energy Recycle is absolutely great in this deck. In terms of supporters, the supporter line, 2 boss feels okay. Adventurous Discovery is absolutely great sometimes. If you've got a Morpeko V-Union piece in the discard pile and an Adventurous Discovery, you can quite often use Arceus just to get all of your pieces into the discard pile and then set it up. Looking at the board as it is now, it looks like, in fact, looking at the hand, that's exactly what we can do. So we can go and use the Adventurous Discovery, get 3 pieces, Ultra Ball, get rid of 2 of them, and Quick Ball to get rid of another one, which would be great. We'd be looking at a quite early Morpeko V Union, which would be great, because Morpeko V Union, even with like a double turbo on it, would one-shot the VMAX. So in this instance, we could hit into Genesect for 180, which is 10 short. But the better decision is almost certainly to just pay retreat into the Arceus and take 2 prizes, which would leave us a new VMAX, which we can one-shot, and then 1 other prize to win the game. And they've not actually started taking prizes yet. And if we can hit with this benched Arceus they're going to really struggle with that Mew on the bench, which is hitting for base 190. They're going to have to get 4 modifiers to get a return KO on the Arceus, which is pretty unlikely. And then we slap down the path to the peak, which is what most folk like to see. Shutting off the abilities of Mew. Hopefully they don't do a runner at this point and make it a really short video, because I'm sure everyone watching this wants to see the damage that Morpeko V Union can do. Let's let's have a look at what else is in the deck that I've not covered so far. Schoolgirl, I don't think I've covered yet. So what I found with the original list from the chaps at Rogue was that I'd quite often have pieces in my hand, or cards in my hand, like a boss, or perhaps hadn't evolved an Arceus and it was in my hand, and the only way to keep the game going was just to research the whole lot away, which I didn't particularly like doing all the time. So yeah, I chucked one of these schoolgirl supporters, and you always have an even number of cards. I mean, there is the possibility that they knock out an Arceus and then a Morpeko, V Union, and you go down to one. This very rarely happens with this deck. Almost always, you just keep on ploughing on with your Arceus V-Stars. So yeah, they're going to get the KO there. So yeah, the Schoolgirl's great because you might if you've got cards in your hand you want to keep, then just keep hold of them and play the Schoolgirl. Draw 4 cards. Before you know it, you've got like 10 cards in your hand or something, which is pretty daunting for your opponent anyway. So yeah, the Cheren's Care is great. It's just wiped out all the damage. They haven't taken a single prize. And I'm about to go and just one-shot their VMAX, going down to 1 prize remaining. And obviously the Morpeko is going to have no energy on it, so we're going to have to work out some way of retreating it at some point. You can see me pondering there whether to play the electric ball, but obviously we might struggle for a few turns. We're going to go 1 prize remaining, a boss on that pretty much is going to win the game at this point. And they don't scoop, which is great because we get to carry on playing the game and win the way we want to win. So yeah, there's a Cheren's Care. The Professor Burnet is great for like clearing cards out of your deck. The research, the Collapsed Stadium is probably the best stadium to play along with Path to the Peak in order to allow you to use your Arceus V-Star ability. And the Choice Belts are obviously great. Stick a Choice Belt on Morpeko. 3 energy gets you the 1 shot. And the good thing about this V Union is it doesn't have any attacks that require 4 energy. I don't know if you've ever played with some of the other V Unions that require 4, but it seems a lot more difficult to get to 4 energy than it does to get to 3. I mean, 3 is super easy, I mean, with this one, you can just accelerate 1 out of your deck, attach a double turbo, and suddenly you're hitting for, that's 280, isn't it? Plus Choice Belt 310. So, it's a really easy card to charge up. So yeah, there's a 4 turbo in there to not guarantee, but it gives you a high likelihood of getting the turn to Trinity Nova, and the Big Charm. The Big Charm's quite useful. Have you seen it in the game, just to try and stick it on an Arceus, just so that you can carry on playing the game after turn 2. Pal Pad's great. In fact, I'm using it now. Look, here we go. Let's have a boss and a Cheren's. Why not? So all we really need to do at this point is to switch. So to find a switch card, and let's be honest, there's a lot of switch cards in this deck. You've got 4 double turbos. There's the switch. There's the escape rope, and you can see here. I mean, looking at this, if they evolve into VMAX and attack, they're not going to get the KO. I can switch and attack, but also I can kind of clear out my deck using the Ultra Ball and the Quick Ball to make sure thin out my deck is the right word. Using the Ultra Ball and the Quick Ball, and then I can Schoolgirl for 4 cards. I'm pretty sure I've got a switch and an escape rope in there, so there's probably like a half chance of me hitting one of those on the next turn. So yeah, we're in a super strong position. I don't honestly see how they can win, but it's nice of them to carry on playing the game. A lot of new players just kind of scoop once they sort of fall behind, but nice of this fella to carry on playing. There's not much else I've not covered. Oh, the Hyper Potion. So yeah, the Hyper Potion is pretty good because if you can take a hit on your Arceus and then Hyper Potion, so it's got 280, Big Charm's 310, plus the Hyper Potion is 430 over 2 turns. So they need to hit more than 430 over 2 turns. So it does come in pretty good, especially with all the double turbos. It's a nice card to have. And occasionally it's won me games. Not sure if I mentioned the Peonia, but yeah, you don't tend to find that you need to go and get your pieces out of your prize cards with this deck. So yeah, you don't always use it, but you can. It's nice to have. Again, look, they don't realise they've got the switch card, and we switch into the Arceus and take the win. Yeah, so yeah, feel free to go and copy the list from the description and go and give it a go yourself. See how you get on. Cheers.